Welcome back to 5 on Fridays. My name is Jacob Hiddle. I am the exercise physiologist with the City of Columbus, working on behalf of the Benefits and Wellness team. I know you may not be ready for the cold weather. I know I'm not. And shall I even say, snow. The winter months can mean a lot of changes to our lifestyle, specifically preparing for the colder weather. From heavier blankets and turning up the thermostat to utilizing space heaters and stringing up the holiday lights. Not only is our energy bill increasing, but we may also be increasing our risk for house fires. Today I'm going to be talking to firefighter Sierra from the Columbus Division of Fire, and he is going to be providing some helpful tips for your house during the winter months.
I have firefighter Sierra with me from the Columbus Division of Fire, and he's going to be talking about learning the sounds of safety and preparing all of us for the winter months that are impending. So firefighter Sierra, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks for having me today. So today's topic is really important to me as I've been a firefighter for many years. Spreading the message of safety is very important to all community members. And we have found that fire prevention does a really good job in the city of Columbus as far as preventing fires. So with that, I'm going to jump into the very first item that we use that is the most important safety implement that you could have in your home, and that being the smoke alarm. Smoke alarms should be in every home, and they have been proven to be very effective at saving lives as well as property. The Fire Safety Act of 1972 started the big push for smoke alarms all throughout the nation. That was a year where there's a lot of people that perished in residential fires, over 30,000 people at that time. With the implementation of smoke alarms in the home all throughout the country, that number 30 years later dropped to right around 3,200 people. So from 30,000 to 3,200, that was a significant drop. So we know that these are the most important apparatus for fire safety that you can have in your home. Very simple to use. The Columbus Division of Fire does have a free smoke alarm program where we will actually come to your home and install them properly. It's a free service, so you can't, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that we can offer to all community members. We've had a great response to it. We also do smoke alarm drives throughout the city. But when we're talking about the sounds of safety. Now, there's two different sounds that come from this smoke alarm. A regular beep, and I'll show you right now. So I've hit the test button on this, and it's going to beep here. So that is basically the test button. Now, if this keeps on beeping, that's to alert you that there's smoke or fire in your house. The first thing you should do is definitely get out of the house and get to safety and call 911. However, there is another sound that I hear a lot of times when I go in people's homes to put in new smoke alarms, and that is the chirp. You hear the chirp every now and then, maybe every couple minutes. What that chirp indicates is the battery is low and it's time to change that battery. However, with ours, we have a 10-year battery, so you won't be hearing that anymore from the one that we install. And then there's a chirping, maybe a 3-sound chirp, which indicates that it's the end of life for the smoke alarm and it's time to replace it. We recommend replacing about every 10 years. I can't say enough about the smoke alarm. It's something that every home should have, and I still go into a lot of homes these days, and I see the smoke alarm. People say, yeah, we have smoke alarms. Yeah, they work. And I ask them, when's the last time you tested it? And they can look at each other and say, I thought you tested it. No, you tested it. It doesn't matter. It's probably not been tested, and when I look at them and open them, sometimes the battery's missing, or I take it off the base and look on the back and see how old it is. And I see some from like 2000, early 2000. So they're well over 20 years old. So they're no longer going to be effective. So it's best to go ahead and replace those. So the two sounds on this is the beep, and that means there's smoke or fire, or the chirp, which means the battery's low and it's time to change the battery, or 3 or 5 beeps or chirps, and that means it's time to get rid of it and put a new one in.
Yeah, wow, that's really cool. So firefighter Sierra, how many smoke alarms do I actually need in my home?
That's a really good question. So on smoke alarms, we recommend one on every level. Now, when we go in the homes, we look at the layout and stuff, and sometimes maybe the home could be a very long, rambling ranch, and then we may put 2, one at either end of the home, and then in the basement, and if it's got a second story. So the general rule is 1 per floor. The newer homes that are hardwired are required by code to have one in every bedroom and all the living spaces. But for replacement purposes, we put one on every level of the home.
So how do I know if I need new smoke alarms?
So again, like I mentioned earlier, So if it's on the ceiling, you just take it off the base. On the back, there will be a manufacture date. Now, the newer ones will have manufacture date. If you look on the back of this and see through all this fine print, you see no date on there. It was made before 1990. It's time to get rid of it. I believe it's right around 1990 where they actually started putting the manufacturer's date, and just go 10 years from that date. So if it's more than 10 years, then go ahead and have them replaced. So that is a smoke alarm, and that, again, is the most important thing that you can have in your home to prevent fires or to alert you of fires or smoke in the house. The next item I'll go into is the carbon monoxide detector. Now, the carbon monoxide detector is really important as well. This lets us know if there is any carbon monoxide, of course, which is where fossil fuels are burning improperly. And that could be a stove that is a natural gas stove. It could be a furnace, which is natural gas. It could be a heater that uses kerosene. So anything that burns a fossil fuel can emit carbon monoxide. So these are really great to have in the home. Normally there's one in a home and it is placed near the bedrooms. Most carbon monoxide poisonings happen when people are sleeping. So it's best to have it near the bedrooms. It will alert you. It will beep just like the smoke alarm. It has basically the same beep. It's 85 decibels. So it's going to alert you. If we were to put this in the basement, which a lot of people think, but don't you need to put that in the basement? I get that all the time. I'm like, no, you want to hear this, and we want to have it near the bedrooms. That way, if there is ever any carbon monoxide, this is going to alert you, and you're going to have enough time to get out to safety. Again, call 911 once you're outside of the home. These units are designed to go off at 30 parts per million. You won't start getting any carbon monoxide poisoning until levels reach 70 parts per million. So this actually goes off well before anyone's going to start getting any nausea, any headache. Those are the most common signs, and those are the first signs of carbon monoxide poisoning. So again, these are a great little gadget to have, and usually they have just one button, it's a test button, and this right here, this part right here is the sensor. This is basically always on standby. It's always basically like a nose, if you will, taken in the air. You and I can't breathe it, or we can't smell it, and we can't see it. But this little apparatus here, this can measure, and if it's above acceptable levels, it will go off and alert you to let you know that there is carbon monoxide leaking into your home.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much, Firefighter Sierra. So why do I need a carbon monoxide alarm?
So again, if you have any appliances in your home, your furnace, even in the garage when you turn on your car, let's say you go into the garage, you turn on your car without opening the garage door, and you go back in the house because you forgot something, then you get distracted because the phone rings, or you just get distracted doing something else, then you're in the house 10 minutes. That carbon monoxide has nowhere to go, then all of a sudden it starts going into the home. Carbon monoxide is lighter, a little bit lighter than air, so it's going to spread throughout the home if your heat is on. These are very sensitive, so we'll let you know if carbon monoxide is leaking into your home or coming into your home. So most homes do have some type of appliance that burns fossil fuels. So this is what you want. If you have a total electric home, it's really probably not necessary. But if you have attached garage, yes, it is, because then again, you have that potential for carbon monoxide coming in from the garage with the car running without the garage door open. Carbon monoxide is the silent killer. We can't smell it and we can't see it. So this little guy here does the job and protects us from that.
So do you need as many smoke or carbon monoxide alarms as you do smoke detectors or smoke alarms?
You do not, no. What we do is we put one in a home. Now, if the home is exceptionally large, we'll put another one in, but this will generally do the job, and we put it, like I said, near the bedrooms. One usually does the job, unless you have, like I said, an exceptionally large home.
That's very scary. Yeah, carbon monoxide is the silent killer, so that could happen even while you're sleeping. So that's very
Absolutely,
scary.
yeah. Absolutely. So now that we're coming into the colder season, we have people turn on their furnaces. You know, if you haven't had your furnace serviced in a number of years, you haven't changed the filter, now would be a good time to do that. Every year we have a number of calls going to homes where people report, there's a funny smell in my house. Well, it's probably because you started your furnace up the first time, it's blowing all that dust around, and your furnace hasn't been on since probably last March. So you're going to have that initial, what's that smell? Well, that's your furnace. And over time, we acclimate to the furnace running constantly. But usually it's just that first time you turn it on. It's basically a lot of dust blown around. It causes alarm for some people. And you're never wrong to call the fire department on something like that. But again, by having one of these in your home, you're going to know if it's truly carbon monoxide. And by having it serviced regularly and changing that filter, your home is going to be a safer place. Your furnace is going to run more efficient, and you're going to breathe cleaner air for sure. And with that, we also have alternative heating sources that a lot of us use. So let's say you live in a small apartment. You don't really want to turn on the furnace. You really don't need it. You just want your bedroom to be warm. Well, a lot of people resort to a space heater. Space heaters are great. There's many different kinds, but I recommend if you do have a space heater that you use one that has a timer. You can have a heat setting as well, different speeds as well. But the most important thing on the space heater is having the tip over feature. So on this one, it's on the bottom, and they are on the bottom. So if this unit, when it's plugged in and running, if it gets unbalanced, all of a sudden it shuts off. That is the safety feature that you want. I've gone to many, many homes, and I will say in many homes of seniors where I install smoke alarms, and they have the old radiant heater that has that coil through it that is red hot. And I've also seen where they don't keep things away from it, like things are too close to it. So the general rule is when you use a space heater to keep a 3-foot clearance around it. That way there's no danger of anything getting too close to it to possibly start a fire. Now this one would not, but the older ones, if with the radiant coil, those are so hazardous. You can have clothes a foot away, and over time that heat's going to build up, and it could possibly start a fire. And I would also say, don't ever buy one of these secondhand. It's always best to buy one brand new and make sure that it's got the Underwriter's Laboratory sticker on it, that you know it's been tested and it's safe. One other thing that a lot of people don't think about is the plug here, plug it directly into an outlet. This is designed to be plugged specifically into an outlet, not an extension cord. All right, it has a little more power, a little more. It can cause a overload. I'm sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. It overload. So if you plug it directly into the outlet, you're not going to have that issue. Another one is in the wintertime, a lot of people use candles for religious holidays or just for the festive season. And I would recommend using the flameless candle, which basically has a little battery in it and it burns and there's no hazard to it because there's no live flame here. With real candles, you have to use a lot of care. There's a lot of reasons why a real candle could start a fire, mainly because it has a flame, but also accidents happen. If you have pets or children, make sure that it's far enough, high enough away from children so they can't get to it. So if you do use candles and they're live candle, make sure they're out of children's reach and pets' reach, because again, accidents do happen. Candles, by the way, are the 5th most common cause of a fire. I didn't list them earlier, but the first would be cooking, obviously. Kitchen is the most dangerous room, so you always want to make sure when you're cooking, never leave the stove unattended. If you have children in the kitchen with you at that time, make sure they're far away enough from the stove and don't let them get anywhere near it. Kitchen is a room that we use every day. We take it for granted, some of us, especially those of us who don't have children. But if you have children, be really super careful because that can be a potentially dangerous room. So after cooking is heating, again, and the main thing is people leaving these space heaters on all night. I would recommend turning this off before you go to bed. Throw on an extra blanket. This does not need to stay on all night. Once you throw that extra blanket on, fall asleep, you never know. If you leave this on, accidents happen. So smoking. Smoking in bed is the 3rd most common cause of house fires. Smoking in bed is dangerous. You could easily fall asleep because you're in bed. And then electrical fires. Electrical fires can be tricky because electrical fires are normally inside the wall. You don't see it, but you can smell it. I'm sure you've been in situations where you smell wires burning basically, and you're like, all of a sudden you panic because you can't see it normally. That is another cause of fires. And those normally happen in older homes. They don't happen in newer homes because building codes and all that use safe products, whereas an old home, the wires have worn, and over time they just need to be replaced. I know that was a lot of information, but
Yeah, that was really helpful information. I do have a question, an additional question. What about electric blankets?
So electric blankets are still used, and again, the main thing every manufacturer says on those, use it to warm up the bed, but once you're in bed, to shut it off. If you look at an electric blanket, that's what the manufacturer recommends.
Interesting. A lot of people do not use it like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I realize that, yeah. There's a lot of things that are sold all across America that people don't listen to how it's supposed to be used, and that can be a reason why fires happen.
Sure.
So we have to be very cognizant and a lot of common sense and stick with that and knowing the difference between leaving something on and turning it off. Fires are unpredictable, and they happen all the time. Accidental fires happen all the time.
To pivot back to the space heaters, you mentioned a feature, the tip over feature. Are there any other features when I, want to purchase a space heater? Any other features to look for?
Yeah, sure. I think the other one would be the automatic shutoff. So you can set the timer. Let's say you want to set it, let's say you're going to go to bed at 9:30. You start your space heater at 9 o'clock and it's going to go off at 9:45 or 10 o'clock or whatever. It's going to go off at a designated time, so it's not going to be on all night. So you're going to have that toasty warm feeling, and hopefully you'll be asleep and you'll fall asleep with that toasty warm feeling, and this automatically shuts off. No hazard. So that's the other feature I would look for.
That's great. Perfect.
Don't buy one don't buy one secondhand where you see the big radiant coil. It's only $1. There's a reason it's only $1.
Don't buy them on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace.
I would tell you no. I would prefer that you buy a brand new one.
That was awesome information. Are there any other tips, pointers that people can follow when it comes to preparing for the winter months?
Well, you always want to make sure your home is warm and safe. Insulate your home if you can. Take care of any drafts before it gets really cold. By doing that, your house is a warmer place. You're going to use less alternative heating sources, and you'll just use maybe your furnace as the main heating source, and you won't start using a space heater in every room. Because I do know when there's situations, especially older homes, it's really a good idea to make sure your home is winter ready. Make sure that furnace is going to be running properly. Make sure your windows are sealed. You can caulk things to make sure there's a seal there. Just a lot of little common sense things that go a long way keeping your house warmer and a safer place. The more alternative heating sources you have in your home, the more likelihood you have of a potential fire in your home.
Well, great. I would say that's it. That's a wrap. That was really great. Thank you so much, Firefighter Sierra, for participating in this today. It was really helpful. We also want to say thank you to the Columbus Fire Division as well. It was really, really helpful. That is it. Thank you for joining us today. And yeah, that's
Absolutely. It. Stay safe, Columbus.
Firefighter Sierra, thank you so much for joining me today. We hope those tips were helpful for you and your family. As always, more information can be found in the description below this video. Keep an eye out for next week's 5 on Friday. In the meantime, be sure to like this video and also to subscribe to our channel. Last but not least, have a healthy and safe weekend, and we hope to see you all next week.